Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. My name is Katt, I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire in the United Kingdom, and this is my little space where I have documented my knitting journey from project 1 through to now, where we have lots of projects and have completed many and have kind of moved into spinning as well. If you're new, it's lovely to see you here. I hope you enjoy your time. If you've been here for a while, it's really nice to see you again. It really is, it's always, I go on about it, but it really is cool how much of a two-way conversation and kind of community that we have developed here. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have a cup of something. Oh, we might have an Audrey interrupted product today. Oh dear, bear with me. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, you can't eat it. It's not the time to be playing, is it? I definitely think I meant podcast, not product. Weird. Anyway, I hope you have a cup of something to either keep you warm, keep you cool, keep you hydrated, and maybe some sort of project of sorts. Okay, cardboard boxes are literally Audrey's favourite thing, apart from a spring that she plays fetch with. And she's settled on it rather than. I'll do a bit of video so I can pop it in. Sorry for this mildly interrupted beginning. I think I've got quite a lot to share this week. I had last week where I shared all of my knitted jumpers that I've kept to this point, rather than share my current knitting projects, so I have kind of 2 weeks to share with you, and I'm hoping that next week we can record a video with Alex. He's got quite a few things to share, so it'd be nice to update you on that, and I will take that opportunity to share the blanket that we've kind of been working on together. So I'm not going to share that this week. What else is there? At the end of this episode I'll put the last of the footage from when we went to Devon with Alex's family, which was a really lovely week. And yeah, I can't remember what's left to share, but I think it's more beach and nature, which is kind of the vibes usually. Next week I will also share the giveaway winners, which I'm really excited to pull. We've been reading the stories, both Alex and I, and that's been really quite a nice evening activity. You know, kind of before we start to really wind down, we're kind of reading them as a way to mellow down almost. Hearing whether it's, you know, connections or a sense of community or even like an ancestral connection. Those stories about Fibre and our crafts have been really nice to read, so thank you so much for sharing those. Yeah. I also wanted to note, I'm overwhelmed by how many of you would like to rehome or adopt the jumpers that I want to pass forward. A few of them have already gone, some of them went straight away, which was kind of amazing, and it's really nice to know that the jumpers are going to new homes. I have taken to sending out the measurements and ensuring that they fit before we organise a swap or postage and things. Going forward, I will either let everyone know when I've done a Ko-Fi listing of each jumper, and that will just help me keep track, and will be a pay what you want option, and then it will be paid for shipping, and other than that it's up to you. If you have money to donate, if you don't feel free not to. There will probably be some more things in the future like that. It's a really nice way I've found to, like, now I know what I would like to knit for myself, I've got a better understanding, I can continue to, you know, swap in and out things. Now I know that that's something that we can do, but also I've got a better understanding for gift knitting now too, so I can hopefully, yeah. Anyway, so thank you, that's been really cool to be able to share my knitting and then send it out into the world to someone that's going to, you know, hopefully cherish it and wear it. I don't think I mentioned, I have a chai today. it is definitely feeling more like autumn. It's really quite cold in the house. I have some of my auntie's hand knitted socks on and my slippers, which is the first time this year that I've had to have hand knit socks on and slippers, and not just out of funsies. And I'm also wearing my soiree, which is a pattern by Emily Foden. I think it was in a Pom Pom magazine, but then she collaborated with Pom Pom to do a book called Knits About Winter, which I talk about all the damn time. But yeah, this is my accidentally very modified version of the soiree, knitted in Coop Knits socks, yeah, in the Melanite colourway, I believe, and Spectrum Fibres Smoke on the mohair base. Yeah, I'm really happy with this. I still wear this all the time. It was my New Year's Eve cast on 2 years ago, and I think it was my third mohair item. It was my first mohair item that wasn't a shawl. So yeah, we'll kind of do the usual procedure of finished objects, whips, and then I'll talk a little bit about my spinning projects too. And my first finished, my only finished object is something that makes me do this. I am so happy with this. It's actually come out even better than I thought it could. It's the perfect size for me, the perfect shape, I think, and just the process behind the yarn makes my heart sing, cry and dance a little bit. So I will put some footage on screen probably, showing you it on my person, but this is what I've affectionately called my Wild Mother shawl, and it is a fairly simple shawl really. It is mostly garter with some lateral cable kind of details, an I-cord bind off, and then some I-cord edging just to really finish it off. And I wanted to bring this gorgeous green into the top, so I used an I-cord edge to achieve that. As always, there's so many ways to wear a triangle shawl. I quite like the hole on the front. I might actually just spend the rest of the episode wearing it over my shoulders because I'm quite chilly, if I'm honest. If I get warm, I'll take it off. I really like that the I-cord edging finishes it and holds a collar if you choose to fold it and have a collar. Yeah, I've been using a hair clip as a shawl pin, which has been really great, nice and snug, and I've been wearing it quite a bit already. So this dark brown grey yarn is a Hebridean yarn, which was hand spun by Lorraine of Peyton and Daughter, who recently attended their first Yarndale event, and it's made me really want to go. I really hope that next year, if I get the opportunity to go, that we do take it. It sounded like so much fun. I know that Lorraine got to see Fruity Knitting and a few other people that, you know, made her heart sing, and in turns made my heart sing with the happiness that she shared. Yeah, and then this lovely grey and the green was hand spun by Bieber, or Lovely Bee, who has put these amazing ball bands together. This is all I have left of the 100% Devon Zorballs natural and undyed grey-brown. Most of this was DK. I know that Bee's written DK-ish, and I didn't, as you can see, I didn't need to use all of this one, but it is in this section, and you can't tell that it's slightly heavier at all, and I think that's kind of really speaks to the way that this shawl works. I think you could knit it in like a really perfect 3-ply and get a really dense, like clear texture, but I think it still looks absolutely amazing in this 2-ply hand spun. So these were all hand spun and given to me, which just melts my brain, and like I said, it makes my heart absolutely sing and feels so special every time I put it on. Little Audrey has taken to trying to claim it, but I'm not gonna 100% allow that. This is definitely my garment, and I'm gonna look after it and cherish it. This green was part of these two, a set that came with these two, and it is Harvest Hues, which is blended by John Arbon and 2-ply handspun, and there was 73 meters of the juniper, and I've got maybe 2 meters left. So I did a lot of yarn checking on this. I used every single inch. I had enough to weave in the end of this gorgeous Hebridean. I have this left over of the grey, and then I used every last inch near enough of, well, 2 or 3 meters left of the green. So I am really happy with it. I used every bit I could to make it as good as I could. So yeah, I have named this because it just reminds me of something that Caduceus from campaign 2 of Critical Role would have. Like this texture, these textures in particular, and then the colours. I know that he's a bit more, well, creative with colours, but you know, I felt like it was very on brand, and if I ever did another version in handspun, or I think this would be a really good nod to Mr. Clay. And I'm really excited about the recent announcement. If you are into Critical Role at all, I hope you're excited too. And if you haven't seen, have a little look maybe. But yes, I love this, and that's kind of all I can say. I improvised it, made it up. I did note it down as I went. I know that 2 lovely makers have already reached out, and I think I will write it up. But more is just like just because friends have asked for it rather than anything else. But yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I could talk about it forever, so I won't. This project I haven't really got too much further, so I'll only share it very briefly, but I am knitting the Talk cardigan by Albiona McLaughlin, I believe her name is, and I'm knitting it using Istex Plutalopi, which is Icelandic unspun yarn, in Black Heather, which is one of my favourite yarns of all time, both colour and feel. The Icelandic, this is the first time I'm using Plutalopi, and I can imagine using it again. It's affordable, it's very warm, this is going to be very light, and the Talk is a top-down construction, seamless, and I think it's called the ultimate lazy cardigan, so you can imagine how simple it is, but the shaping details again look like they're going to be amazing. Albiona does simple but very clever and well considered, both shaping and construction, I think. So I'm enjoying it. Like I've said in the past, I'm not rushing through this. I'm going to just enjoy knitting it, taking it as slow or as fast as I want. It is going to be something that I wear all the time. It's almost black and it's going to be a cardigan. I keep saying this, but I do have quite a few t-shirts, I've got a few dresses, I've got quite a few hand knit tops, and it will be nice to layer this over them. I've even got my Soldotna, which I recently fell in love with again. I've knitted 3 Soldotnas and only the one has remained in my wardrobe and will be kept. So I do have one more to give away, but again, maybe that will be in the future. We'll talk about cardigans and tops maybe in a video, and but this will go perfectly and make that item wearable, not just in those weird transitional days, but more through winter. with comfort. I almost always mention these, but these stitch markers, hopefully you can see them, are by Thyme Weaver, who is Nicole, and they are like the ones I use the most. I think it's, I say it all the time, I think it's purely because I know Nicole and I love her energy, and I feel like she puts them into these, so. And they go with most projects that I knit on too, like colour wise. This just is neutral, so it goes, but as you'll see, like everything seems to match. So yeah, not much else to say on that. It's living in this gorgeous bag which I share almost every time I talk to, so I'm sorry if you're bored, but this is a gorgeous bag that was made by Maggie of the Sunday Knitting and Reading podcast, and if you are on the lookout for a new podcast to listen to or watch to keep you company, I love Maggie's energy and would recommend spending some time with her if you would like to. Right, I'm gonna have a sip. Let's talk about this one again. I won't talk too long about this. This is an improvised hat that I cast on, and again, I'm not rushing through this. It will probably be done today. I think this will be something that I cast off. I started doing the decreases last night, but as my lovely, okay, I'll talk about it briefly. As my D&D group will know, I got in at 6:30 yesterday. I was in bed by 7:30. I really wanted to play with my D&D group because, oh my goodness, I did, but I am a little bit off. I'm a little bit off today still, but yesterday I was particularly on the cusp where my temperature was doing the crazy thing. It was up and down like a yo-yo, and I felt like if I didn't just sleep, you know, I would have suffered this week. So I'm really grateful that they all supported me and were like, it's okay. I got to pop in and say hello and I wish you all well. So yeah, that was really, really sweet. But I started to do the decreases as I was talking to them, and then, as I said, I quickly had the world's fastest bath and got into bed, and it was one of those where we had clean bedding, you know, and it goes on fresh pyjamas. So I think I slept for maybe 15 hours, which was really good and really necessary. So I feel really good now, and I'm really grateful that they, you know, they piloted my character for me, who is starting to show their colours just a little bit, and it's very exciting. But I also have to say, just because Sarah is amazing, RDM, we play from Italy, 2 of us are in the UK, Canada and America, so we're all across the world, and RDM made us minis of our characters and a map. I didn't get to see the map. I did click the spoiler on Discord because I couldn't resist seeing it, but they are amazing. Maybe I'll check if I'm allowed to put a picture up, but this is so cool. That was really exciting and really hard not to just play, but I know that I'm here now feeling a bit better, and I'm really excited to play next week. Audrey is now eating said box. Let's stop that. Let's not eat that, honey. That can't be delicious. Here we go. What do you think? What do you think of this hat? You can sit on that. That's fine. So anyway, lots of excitement in D&D land. I did spend the weekend talking about it to the wedding guests and their friends. Anyway, this is an improvised hat. It's 1x1 rib that I'm knitting using a mohair that I got in a D-stash a while back, I think 2 years ago, and this gorgeous yarn, which is by Forage and Sew Dye Works, and is dyed naturally using marigolds. It's a 3-ply, so it does, even though it's just 1x1 and has mohair. Oh, wrap myself back up. It's, you know, it's quite a good stitch definition already. I think I could have put a cable in here and that would have been quite nice, but I've got to say, I'm a person that loves a really basic hat, so I'm gifting really basic hats. Yeah. My hair is always frizzy and wild, so this is not going to help the situation, but it is a lovely colour pairing. That looks great. And I feel like it can be rolled up or not. So it's going to be a good hat. We'll see what the decreases do. I'm doing something slightly different for me. But I'll explain if it works, and if it doesn't, I'll explain anyway, but next week when we're further along. So yeah, happy with it. The pattern writing's terrible. It's not even written down. But yeah, so I'm really enjoying having a very simple, comforting knit. I find that using these very special yarns, you know, I find mohair to be special, yarn from really, really thoughtful producers makes me happy, and then having a project that doesn't require too much attention is really nice to have for those moments where you want to be around people, or, you know, chatting to people. So I actually knitted, I think, 2 inches of this on the way to a wedding on Saturday, and I had it in my bag. I didn't pull it out at the wedding or even after, but it was just nice to know that I had something if, you know, I was sat down deep in conversation for an hour or so, you know, my hands could be busy and I could therefore be a bit more engaged. I feel like it does for many, having something to knit on that is simple, that I don't even have to look at, really helps me to engage a bit deeper in conversations. So yes, and this little bag is from Minou Boutique, who is a Greek producer in Etsy, on Etsy. Yeah. So my final knitting project that I want to share with you is living in here, and Natalia I don't think is making at the moment, and I know I show this bag a lot and a lot of people would like one, and I'm very grateful to be a proud owner of one, but hopefully Natalia will have a bit more time in the future, and I will make sure that I will link to the makers. I honestly do my absolute best to share all the producers and makers, but if Natalia does start making again, I will be sure to do like a channel update, a community update here, just to let you know. This is new. I haven't shared this here yet, but this is coming along, and it's looking really cool. This is the, I'm gonna say it wrong, Koi Viewer by Caitlin Hunter, and this is the first time I've knitted a Caitlin Hunter pattern in a long time. I kind of wanted to do this in hand spun, but I didn't have enough, and I don't know, like just for this I thought would be really cool in hand spun. And when I was, I know I just heard the stitch marker fall, but just check, the needles are the cable needles are still on the stitches, we're okay. And so I had this pattern in my head, and then I looked over to, I often have a basket or 2, maybe 3 at the moment, of yarn that I leave on display in the living room, and it's usually yarns that are kind of inspiring me or mean a lot that I would really like to use, and I do try and rotate it so that different yarns get a chance, and in hope that it sparks my creativity or imagination, or, you know, you might just randomly think about something and be like, oh, I'll just swatch. So it's really nice for me to have those yarns on show. And I had this gorgeous, I'll show the mohair, which is the Fog colourway by River of A Knitter's Homestead, who is, if you just want to feel relaxed and for your eyes to be taken into some sort of fairy tale, real life dreamland, River's Instagram is a wonderful place to hang out. Like I said, this is her mohair base. I did put the, River's even presentation is absolutely gorgeous. So she's always got these sort of, these beautiful phrases and details that's handmade in Georgia. And then it's always these sort of botanical, whimsical, it's just beautiful. So this is the Fog colourway, and I don't know, I suddenly thought, whoa, I have this mohair that I've not used. Well, I knitted already, I knitted it into a jumper, and I haven't used since I took it out of the jumper. And I'll show you the yarns together. But I did like a bit of a heathen, I unravelled it, held double, so you can probably tell that that's a lot thicker than most mohairs, but that is mohair with a sock yarn, and I can't remember who the sock yarn's by, so I'm really sorry for that, but if I find the ball I will let you know. But the mohair is by Stranded Dye Works, Amy, up in Scotland now, and it's called Pigeon Fancier. And then I was just like, oh, well these two would be amazing. This would then be using one of, this was maybe my third ever skein of mohair, and then a very special gift. We did a little swap. I sent her some yarn and some treats last Christmas, and then she was very sweet and did the same, some coffee and things. And then I remembered that I have this very special to me skein of Woolly Mammoth Fibre in natural sock, and I've knitted a pair of socks in Emma's yarn, and I still have the rest of that skein to use, so I do intend on using anything left here and that other skein to knit a second pair of socks. And yeah, so I will just say I'm really hoping to, in the next few weeks, do an update on the natural sock project that I'm doing. Alex has been wearing his socks as instructed, and I am hoping to do just a quick wash of all of the socks and then share our findings so far, because it's going to be ongoing and I have some really lovely yarn still to try. So yeah, these were the colours. Obviously this is held double, and the way they've played is just, to me, lovely. It's like, I don't know, like an icy pine forest. So there's like definitely a winter feel to it. So I'm using a fingering weight and mohair, which is definitely not a DK. It's more like a sport maybe a DK. But I think the pattern calls for worsted, so I have gone down a bit in yarn weight, but I've kept the recommended needle size. So I'm hoping to get a slightly different fit. I have done a size larger than I usually would, maybe 2. I think a size larger than I usually would, in the hope that that will balance out a bit, given I did do a swatch. I think I only swatched this texture and then, what other texture did I do? Not texture, this colourwork and this texture, just to get an idea. And I should have a nice fitting jumper. What I am doing is I've now put this, I've worked to the middle of the ribbing that's recommended, I think, and what I'm going to do is do the sleeves, finish the sleeves, and then see if I can make the body a bit longer. I'm not fussed if it doesn't go much longer, to be honest, but I would like to use every last bit of this yarn if I can, because it is very special. So yeah, really enjoying working on it. I don't have much else to say really on that one, I don't think. But that's good because we have 30 seconds left of time. Yeah, so it is a top-down yoke construction, colourwork and texture. I talk about it quite often. I love to work colourwork. It's one of my favourite things to knit, and knitting it in mohair. It's also very special, using yarns that I love. So this is another one of those projects that really feeds into my intentional knitting and the way I want to continue knitting going forward. Yeah. I know that the sleeves have a I-cord bind off, and they will, that will have a similar shape to the ranunculus. I'm still undecided if I will use an I-cord or if I will do a bit of ribbing. I'm going to see and gauge how wide it's going to be, because you work some increases to bell out the sleeve, and I'm not sure if, so we'll see what happens with that. But there's a little bit of thinking to do and decision making, which I quite enjoy. Yeah. Oh, she's so sweet, she's gone to sleep. Look. So I have been working a little bit on this gorgeous recycled fibre from Wool and Witch. This is an art bat that I feel like, obviously everyone can do whatever they want, but I feel like you're meant to spin this in a little bit more fun, creative, free-flowing way. But I am trying to knit this, spin this in a consistent way. I'm happy with how it's coming out. I decided to wind it off what I'd done. I think there's about 30 grams here, and start again, because I just was finding that the spindle was getting a little bit heavier and I just wanted a little bit of a easier time maybe. But I'm really enjoying just ripping off a bit, attaching it and spinning it. If you weren't here before and you don't know, the art bats that, these ones in particular, the recycled ones that Steph is selling, are ones that she has carded up herself and taken care of from a big batch of fibre that she was giving from someone who does a felting course, and they were just going to get rid of them, so they would have ended up in landfill. And that's why I feel like consciously happy to use this. This is merino with is it Angelica? She's like Stellina, but it's not, and bamboo. And yeah, I'm really loving the colours. Steph was like, I was deciding between two different colours. This green, which I think I'm in a green phase, or this sort of dusky, purpley, pinky. It would have come out a little bit on dusty pastels, dirty pastels vibe, which I'm really into. But as soon as Steph said Hobbit core, I was like, I'm in, let's do this. And I'm really excited to ply it. I think I am going to ply it on itself. I was considering plying it with a more solid heathered green that I have, but I might just use them in a project together. But again, I'm not rushing through any spinning, I'm not rushing through any projects. It's not my thing, but I'm enjoying doing this and using a different spindle. So next week's giveaway, the giveaway that will be pulled next week, one person will be receiving my very first spindle, which is really nice to pass forward. And I was gifted this very kindly from someone who said that they will never want to spin, so it's lovely to try and play and experience someone else's, thing. So thank you again. You know who you are. And I want to share this one because this was the last thing I spun on my first spindle, and this was a gift as well. So I feel very special and overwhelmed and grateful. at the moment, and this was from Susan, who, if you don't know, I'd be surprised, but of Wild Cottage Island. And Susan has just a really nice, maybe you're in this bracket of people that say energy, but personality or energy, she's just got it lovely. And I really enjoy watching and sharing and learning along with Susan. And Susan's a lot better at spinning than me. But so I've got a few more bits of fibre from Susan that I'm gonna spin kind of a little bit later. So I have these 2 other projects on the go that I'll show you, and then after those I'm hoping to come back to this and play with them more with these yarns. So this is what I have spun, and it is from the Sweetest Susan is what I've written on the tag. So from the Sweetest Susan and an Irish Jacob, I've managed to get 130 metres from 57 grams. From the Sweetest Susan. And what I specifically tried to do differently here was to see if I could leave some of those sort of slubby neps in. And I have to say, maybe I'm destined to be a more fine spinner than I could have ever thought, because I think of myself as not being particularly dexterous and a little bit haphazard in life. So to see my spinning be a bit more fine is really surprising. But I did try and leave the slubs, and I'm really excited by them, but it really took a lot of focus. It seemed a lot more, it took a lot more brain space to keep them in than it does to take them out. I wonder if you experience that as a spinner. If you're not a spinner, I hope you're around. If not, it was lovely to see you. I don't know. Yeah, so it's kind of all black and white and naturally undyed Jacob. And if you've been here for some time, you might know that Jacob is one of my favourite breeds of sheep, and I still have no real, other than liking the smell and loving the garments that I've knitted with Jacob and them being quite beautiful, I've got no real, not right, but I just love them, that's what I'm saying. This doesn't smell that Jacoby. Maybe Irish Jacobs smell a bit less sheepy than English Jacobs, but yes. Very happy with this. I'm not quite sure what it will be. It might go into a project with something else, and maybe it should just become a very special little hat. Yeah. And then finally, another very special gift that was sent by, I would call her a friend. I won't call her out by name because she often doesn't want to be, but I'm very grateful that I was sent this gorgeous Turkish spindle, which was very interesting to me to try, because the week before I was sent this, I was talking to lovely Marina from the Marina Skewer podcast. Sorry, Marina. You're lovely though, and congratulations, now I can say it. I'm so happy. So I was talking to Marina and saying that my plying method was very chaotic, and it remains to be very chaotic. And it involves a yarn bowl, a cooking bowl with a bulldog clip, and me standing bare feet, sliding yarn through my feet. Anyway, maybe I'll get Alex to film me next time I'm doing it, but I won't need to with this method, hopefully. So this is a bottom well rather than a top, which feels quite different, and it doesn't have a hook, so you have to kind of hitch it over, which is fun. It is a very different process. I've not hitched it up because I'm a naughty tinker, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a very lightweight spindle compared to what I've been previously using, and I'm finding that I'm not putting quite as much spin into it, which personally I'm really enjoying. It's a little bit lighter, and I really am not sure what fibre this is, but it seems to have some of the oils in it still. And hopefully you can see the different texture, and I'll hold this up so you can see hopefully the difference in how tightly spun this is compared to that. This is a gorgeous fibre, and actually seems to be a very Marina colour. No, Marina, she's like a woodland autumn queen. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this too, and again taking my time with it, spinning as and when. And I'm, as someone who, you know, I came to craft through health issues, and my previous work was quite on the body and movement and holistic looking after the body. It's really nice to have different projects to work on for my hands, especially as the weather starts to change and get colder and joints need a little bit more looking after. It's nice with spinning because you every now and then wind it up and hitch it if you want to, and that's a moment for me to also remember to take a drink. Sometimes with knitting, if you're knitting in the round, it can be easier to just forget to hydrate or stretch. So I'm really enjoying spinning for those aspects too, not just being able to take a fibre and then turn it into something that I can then knit with and turn into a final product. So yeah, very happy with what I've been working on so much in the last few months, and yet I just want to do more. And not like I want to do more like, oh, I want to achieve more like I just want to continue doing this. So I'm very grateful to be in this position where I am making and sharing with you, and I think I say that every time I'm here, so sorry if you find that a little bit tedious or boring, but it really doesn't mean any less ever. I truly am so grateful. Yeah, I don't know that I've got much else to say, which is unusual. This I've been wearing quite a lot recently, and a couple of people asked me, but we think it's a Viking ring or a piece of Viking material of sorts that Alex purchased for me when we watched The Dig, which is a lovely film if you haven't seen it, on Netflix. And he got very excited and purchased this for me. I previously had it on a different cord that kept getting fibre, loads of fibre attached to it, so I recently swapped it over for this other piece of cord that I had, and it no longer does and looks quite nice, so I've been wearing it lots and lots, and I think it goes very well with this shawl. It makes me feel a little bit more old age than I really am. Anyway, thank you so much for taking time to sit down with me. Hopefully you've had a relaxing time whilst you've been here. I always feel like I'm a bit wild and chaotic, but often get very kind feedback, so thank you very much. I hope that whatever you get up to this week, you do have a little bit of fun. I hope that you enjoy what you're making, if you are making. If you're not, maybe I'm inspiring you to take some craft up, even if it's nothing to do with fibre. Maybe it's sewing, embroidering, anything. I'm hoping to have a little bit more time to do some reading over the next few weeks. I've got a few books that one was gifted to me, and I've got a few books that I'm really hoping to spend some time with, and then I can maybe share them with you. Yes, I think that's everything. We have a weekend at home this weekend, and I'm personally very excited for it. I'm hoping to spend a little bit more time going through a little bit of things, organising, kind of settling into autumn, because the weather really has turned the last few days. I thought it had been not very summery all year, and it hasn't, but it's definitely just got a lot colder, and I'm quite enjoying it. Yeah, with that, I hope to see you again very soon. I hope that you do things you love this week. Treat yourself to something nice, be it adding some cucumber to your water or going out and doing something you've really wanted to do. Reading a book if you haven't had a chance, maybe gift yourself that time. Maybe casting on a project you've been really excited for. Maybe trying a new hobby. You know, anything you'd like to do. And most importantly, I implore you to connect with your loved ones, tell your loved ones how much you love them. If you need a Fibre community, our Discord is a wonderful space to be. I am hoping to keep continuing to be more and more active, keeping an eye and checking into knit nights, which have been quite wow recently. And yeah, please don't forget to love each other.
Done? Oh, was it?